The Hollywood Beat looks at movies. I'm Tandy Culpepper, and I'm hosting this episode of The Hollywood Beat along with Reba Merrill, who is an Emmy winner, is a veteran of entertainment journalism in Hollywood, and is a member of AMPAS, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. You are just really impressive, Reba.
Oh, thank you. I think it's something that I love to do.
Okay, we're looking at two films. This is our inaugural webcast of looking at movies. And today we're looking at Conclave and Maria. So let's start out with Conclave.
What happened?
They say a heart attack.
You know how rumor spreads, and 1.25 billion souls watching.
Well thought, no, Lawrence.
It seems the responsibility for the conclave falls upon you. The supervision of this election is a duty I never thought I'd have to perform. They are sequestered, and they must be shielded from all news that may influence their judgment. You understand?
No sane man would want the papacy.
I know both of us like this film a lot. What was or were your initial impressions about the movie?
Surprise. It surprised me.
Really?
No idea that it was going to be kind of a thriller, and it didn't lay everything out. It did drop interesting moments, but you really had to pay attention to see where it was going. And to me, that's the fun of going to a movie, that you don't know what is going to really transpire until it happens.
It was like peeling away the layers of an onion. Very much so. I had seen the trailer on television and on streaming services, and I was intrigued by it because I had paid attention. There was a certain, to me, and obviously Conclave in a nutshell is about the selection of the next pope. We should give that away. But that's all we're going to give away. But I remember the excitement over the years since I was old enough to realize what the Pope and the Catholic Church and all that was, and the fact that this was sort of the preeminent religious leader in the world. I'm not Catholic, neither are you, yet there's a certain fascination, a commonality, I think, for what the Catholic Church represents and in the world, and the Pope at the top of it. So I was intrigued from the get-go about where we go.
Let me tell you something. From the moment we started talking about possibly doing this, you had said to me, I won't exaggerate, I was going to say 100 times, but at least 25, that I never bothered to see the trailer. I like to go into them without seeing them. But you kept saying to me, I've got to see this film. You've got to see this film. And it was pretty obvious that you were into the film. I came in not into the film and was blown away.
But isn't that what a good trailer does? It doesn't give you all the information. I hate it when all the best things are in the trailer.
I don't watch trailers if I can help it.
I wanted to see this film because the trailer let me know from the moment one that there was a mystery afoot, a thriller aspect, if you can figure that a bunch of older guys
in red
sitting around in basically one room would be a thriller, but there's so many various factions that come into play here that everybody has a horse that they're backing. And to see these various favorites play out in, I don't know what the running time is, at least 2 hours, but I was fascinated by it, just fascinated. Tell me, who stood out for you in the cast?
Ooh, that's difficult because I thought the three leads, Ray Fiennes, John Lithgow, and Stanley Tucci, were just like a monument,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that everybody else could stand on them. So it was very hard for me to pick them out because they so delivered in their own way and they carried their own weight. So I have a hard time. I will leave it up to you since you're obsessed with this film and
I am.
I'm not. Okay. It's not that it's a great film, but I wasn't crazy like you were crazy that you had to see it like first guy in the block.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
Okay,
you,
so Ray Fiennes has been talked about, bandied about as a sure Best Actor nominee, and seems to me right now to be the one to beat. So much of what he does too is interior. He he gives us so much about his character, even when he's not talking, when he doesn't have dialogue. And he has his character has a certain amount of doubt. I think he doesn't know if he's up to the task of fulfilling what has been charged with him by the Pope who dies unexpectedly, who asks him to be the dean of the College of Cardinals. So he is, in fact, the guy that is in charge of running the election for a new Pope.
or you could say he's running the show.
He is running the show.
Yeah.
So that leaves Tucci and Lithgow as very likely nominees for Best Supporting Actor. And I hate the fact that they'd be going up against each other because it was the same thing in Thelma and Louise when Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis were running against each other in the Best Actress category, which pretty much guaranteed that Jodie Foster was going to win. Right? I mean, nothing against Jodie Foster, but come on. That her role wasn't as flashy or showy. She doesn't drive up a cliff, honestly. This film, to me, too, comes along at a time when people will be picking up. Let's face it, Pope Francis is not in the best of health. And so this gives us a primer on, I thought, so realistically, it doesn't go over the top. It's very sparse. It's not showy for showy's sake. The intrigue and all is enough by what's happening behind the scenes. They don't have to go overboard and get melodramatic. I really admired that about this film.
I think one of the things that also heightens the mystery and the intrigue in the film is the music. And Volker Bertelsmann, by the way, he's not a stranger to Oscar. And neither is the director because they worked together on All's Quiet on the Western Front. And
that film was so profound.
So therefore they won Oscars. They have worked together. What was very interesting about the treatment of the music this time is that Volker, I know him, so I can call him
You
Volker.
know him?
No, but
Oh,
it's just easier to say Volker. Okay. But what he did, he deliberately avoided church type music. There is not an organ in any of the scenes.
I read something, maybe the same article you did, about glass and
Yes,
water on the hands or something.
yes.
I couldn't even wrap my head
Yes,
around
it
that.
can. It gives you an ethereal sound. It really does. But also, he used the piano, which we very seldom see used alone in a film.
Oh, we haven't even talked about Isabella Rossellini.
Well, she does steal the movie, but maybe it's because she's the principal woman in the movie. But what she has to do, she does extremely well.
Yes,
She
it's
holds her own with these men
yes,
because you
and
get the feeling, wait a minute, you get the feeling that the nuns that are there to serve the cardinals. They prepare the food, they serve the food, they walk behind them. They're always like very serene and belt.
they're supposed to be seen and not heard.
Oh, just like children. Oh,
Just
yeah.
like children, exactly. Oh my God. Um, but she has a pivotal.
Because she's the clue. And let's not say anything else.
No. You're right. Zip.
Okay.
So I think uh, from the outset, what you said is, which ordinarily would be antithetical to a film like this, but it is a thriller and it's a mystery, as uh, Churchill called, what was it he was referring to? He called it a mystery wrapped in an enigma. And this is a mystery wrapped in an enigma. And we get to see it play out from, like, I think
Voyeurs. We're voyeurs.
we're voyeurs, and you said a fly on the wall.
Yes.
We're watching it from up here. So, okay. So,
So I guess we're going to agree that we like this film.
we like this one. Yes. So it's 2 thumbs up. This is Scalini.
We're not doing thumbs. Come on.
No, you're right. Okay. Moving on to Maria.
Should I call you Maria or La Callas? Tell me how it felt to be on stage.
An exaltation, an intoxication. I thought the stage itself would burn.
Sometimes this thing happens, the thing that's happening right now.
There's a point where self-confidence becomes a kind of insanity.
Now, you were wild about this film. I am wild about Angelina Jolie. I wasn't crazy about the film as much as I was crazy about her performance. You feel otherwise?
I do, for the simple reason is that I think part of it has to do that Angelina is 49 years old, and we hadn't seen her for 6 years, which had nothing to do with age. It's just that she had decided she wanted to stay home and be a mother. So we're all aware, maybe women more aware than men, that our power, not just to open a film, but to get a film, starts to wane as we get older.
Which is not the case with men, and that is so unfair.
Well, but that's what life is all about. So the thing is that when I saw the movie is a woman that is turning into being old by Hollywood standards, even though it's not old, playing a woman who was absolutely booed and criticized as she aged because it affected her voice. And I think the power of bringing that to the screen, and she does it, because I have to say this, I never knew what Angelina sang. She claims she sang her whole life. She just never did it publicly. And she carried around, which is so interesting, she carried around that somebody criticized her for singing,
Criticized Angelina?
for her singing.
Who?
She wouldn't say in the interview I read, but it was somebody that she was involved with. So we don't know who that is. But the idea is this is what happens sometimes when words are used against you and then you hold on to them. So for her to take this role, first of all, she was afraid. But let me tell you why she wanted to take it. She wanted to take it because Pablo Larrain loves women because his first film, he's from Peru. His first film was Jackie. His second film was Spencer, which is Diana, Princess Diana.
Yes, yeah.
So she knows that he has two things, a great deal of respect for women. That means how they shoot, what they look like. Let's not kid ourselves. What you look like on screen is still important to you. You might not say it.
Yeah.
So she wanted to work with him very badly. On the flip side, she was terrified with what the role would demand of her. She spent 7 months relearning how to sing because singing opera is not what you sing in the shower.
Really?
You sing from your whole body.
A lot of diaphragm.
Yes. And then, if that wasn't enough, she learned Italian. She was obsessed by doing this film. She was scared, but she wanted it very badly. And I don't blame her because I think she shows it off. Where you didn't like it, because we've talked about it, you didn't like the flashbacks. I love them because
I got confused.
well, maybe it's just your age. I know, no, you're not a woman. I think if you were a woman, you would have understood.
Well, as I said, I loved her performance. So I'm not detracting at all from her performance. I just had trouble staying in what time period we were in.
They shot it in black and white. Come on.
It was in black and white.
The
flashbacks.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
We'll have a test to see how you see films. Okay, but let me add some of the more interesting things that are not on the screen.
Okay.
Is the location. It's so elegant. You really thought you were in Italy. You thought you were in Greece, but you were really in Budapest, Hungary. And they went to Budapest not only because they have a huge film industry, but they have great incentives to help you save money, which we don't seem to do as much in the United States.
I did an EPK for a film that was shot in Sofia, Bulgaria, and it was standing in for London. Go figure.
No, listen, wait till we get to The Brutalist. They were also shot in Hungary, and they delivered Philadelphia because that's where the film is set. So the thing is that they shot there, but this is what's interesting. They took 2 days for Greece. She got to shoot in Greece. And then the most powerful moment in the film, in Angelina's performance, is they go to Italy for 1 day and shoot La Scala. And just the act of being there at La Scala so terrified her that she probably gave the best performance there.
I wish I could remember the director's name who did the movie Elizabeth with Kate Blanchett. And he said the first thing, because I think she was a little nervous about portraying such a monumental figure in British history. And he said, well, let's get rid of the obvious. Let's get this out of the way. You are not Elizabeth. So, you have to bring your own interpretation of this woman. I asked Jodie Foster one time, I said, you had never had an acting lesson. Is that right? And she said, yeah, I just do what's on the page. But it says on the page, that's what I do. And I guess he was telling Kate Blanchett, there it is on the page, do it. So it surprises me that someone with Angelina won an Oscar. I can't remember the name of the film, but
Well, I do know the Emmy. She won the Emmy for Gia. And let's see, what did she? She won a supporting actress, but
I can't remember either.
We
So
really did a
she's,
good job on our research, right?
yeah, well, she is by any metric, a Hollywood heavyweight. As you said, she had not acted in 6 years, but I didn't get the impression by her portrayal, and maybe it added to the vulnerability of it, because as you say, um, Maria Callas was booed at one point, which I just find so. I mean, you're watching a legend on stage, right?
But the audience booed her because she wasn't delivering what she used to deliver. And you know something, we can transfer that to today because, and this I think is what Angelina felt, is that with the anonymity of the internet, people boo in quotes actresses, actors, producers, directors. And that's what she felt. I'm sure she's had it. She hasn't, she always delivers interesting performances. But the thing is that when I looked at the film, I looked at it primarily as a woman of a certain age, both of them were, and that they are treated differently. Also, that she hadn't worked, she was scared, and I do believe, even though I'm not inside her head, that she used that fear in the performance. I have interviewed her, and she's very hard sometimes to pull anything out. So this is what I want to share with you, not from my interview, but from the latest interview she's doing for this film, which we call in the business the Oscar dance, which you go out and push how much you would like an Oscar. You can't say it, but you can do it with your actions. And what she was talking about was how to do interviews where she has to let go of the wall she puts up, which is very severe, and talking to the press to get them to be enamored with her. And I found that amazing coming out of her mouth. I mean, occasionally I got interesting things from her, but it wasn't easy. She wasn't like an easy interview.
I interviewed her only one time. It was for a really horrible movie called
No, it wasn't.
60 Seconds.
I interviewed her for that too.
You
But
remember
I
that?
interviewed her at 2 o'clock in the morning on the set, and she gave me the best stuff because there she is, dirty, because she's playing a mechanic
Right.
remember she had that awful blonde hair,
Yes.
cornrows.
Yeah.
And I said to her, you're dirty throughout this film. And she said, yes, I love being dirty. In fact, that's where everybody thinks I'm very elegant because I wear a lot of black. But I do that because I spill a lot of food.
I'm the same here.
I thought I would faint because she always, seemed to control everything coming out of her mouth. So she's loosening up. I was very impressed. The film is one that I liked, and you don't have to like it. I do agree that I think she will get a nomination. It is a very strong role, but I also think there will be other nominations in there.
From that film.
I do believe so.
Who?
I didn't know who, but I think the costumes.
Oh, yes.
The
Yeah,
makeup.
of course.
They did change her nose. I read that. I'm so
See, I
recognize
can't believe I didn't pick up on that, because remember in the hours when Nicole played Virginia Woolf, they put another nose on her.
Yes.
And
the idea is I saw it. It wasn't so obvious, but it was not Angelina. And so I think and they're already up in the short list. We have to understand that. The music from Conclave is already on the short list. The production values from Maria are on the short list. So it's more than one Oscar. I mean,
Okay,
there is more than just the actors.
explain for those of us who don't know the inner
Short list.
workings of the Oscar noms, what shortlist means.
Okay, so we get to vote twice. I'm on the foreign screening committee, so I had 87 films,
Good grief.
which I didn't see 87, but I saw close to 50. And then in December, we had to take the 87 films down to 15. That becomes the short list. So next week in January, we're going to vote again to shrink the short list to 5.
Our feeling at this juncture is
We're going
that,
to agree she will probably get a nomination.
yes, and it's such a strong performance. I would not be surprised if she became the Oscar odds-on favorite.
Well, we're going to talk about Honora later on, and you have to see that performance too.
And then there's Baby Girl coming up with Nicole.
With Nicole. So it's exciting because there really are some strong, sometimes we don't have strong female roles. So I guess we're going to agree that we think she's going to get Oscar nominated, and we're going to disagree how much we like the film. I actually will say I loved it.
Mine was, I wasn't captivated by the film, the way the film was structured, but I was mesmerized by her, which is odd, right?
Yes, but I
But
don't.
that's enough to make, if you see her in the trailer, which I do not remember seeing, I'm sure that it would have been edited so that it would have, that she would be the draw for this. And if you're a certain age, you remember, because there's the character of Aristotle Onassis in there.
Or Jackie Kennedy.
And Jackie Kennedy, whom we, if you're a certain age, you remember Callas with Aristotle, and also Jackie marrying him to secure the money. Because, come on, it was a very transactional marriage.
Okay, but before that, you realize that in the film, Maria Callas was married, and Onassis actually wooed her to great, I mean, you can't believe it. He gave a party and invited her, only he didn't care if anybody came. He wanted her there.
Right.
And he made it really clear, I want you. So, I mean, the thing is that I found it exciting. I like to go back in history, and I like seeing famous people.
There was some,
even when they are flawed, it doesn't matter.
there was a line in there, something he said about, I'm an ugly man. And then do you remember the rest of, I just remember that. And he was nothing to look at, but boy, was he wealthy.
Yes. So it's okay to disagree with you. We'll just see how it plays out now.
Yeah. Well, it could get a Best Picture nod. Who am I to say?
Yes. So can I say goodbye?
Yes. And any other closing thoughts?
I love movies. I don't care if I go to a movie and I don't like it. I love the experience. It isn't the popcorn that gets me. It's what's on the screen.
And that is as good as any line to close out on. I'm Tandy Culpepper.
I'm Reba Merrill.
And thank you out there for joining us on the Hollywood Beat.